Good morning, everyone. Today we are joined by morning news royalty, the one and only Miss Gayle King.
Oh, oh, go ahead, John. Flattery will get you everywhere. Morning news royalty. Get out of here.
No,
I still love what I do. I will say that. But
that's
of course,
amazing.
because the last name is King, I get it. But I'm definitely not morning news royalty. But I love being here. I love it. Look,
That's
this
amazing.
queen is sort of you can't really see, but it's a shot of a little black girl in a swing,
Yeah,
and her legs are. You remember when you were a little kid and you would swing and you go
I
wee?
loved the swings.
That that is honestly how I feel about working here.
That's
That's the truth.
incredible. I mean,
Whee!
it's a pretty fun week. You had Stacey Abrams this
Yeah,
morning, BB Rexa as well, and
yeah,
Michelle Obama yesterday.
yeah, yeah. I mean, listen, I was telling somebody the other day, uh, I'm never ever bored.
Yeah,
In a week's time, I had Michelle Obama. I had the juror from the Derek Chauvin trial. I had, it's just one thing after another. And so this is another example. BB Rexa, who is talking very openly about mental health. She has new music. She was great. Stacey Abrams, of course, who is a novelist who has written romance novels. This time she's written another novel where she's used her real name. And so you always hit her with news of day. And then Michelle Obama, some people call her our forever First Lady. It's always a pleasure and an honor to talk to her, always.
yeah. I was surprised to hear you mention in that interview. So she's doing a Netflix program and delivering 100, not 100, but 1 million
Yeah.
meals.
Waffles and Mochi. Her program is Waffles and Mochi, John. We should say the name of the program.
Waffles and mochi, which I hear you loved.
I did. This is really funny because I intended there's 10 episodes. And I intended, as I said to her too during the interview, I intended I'll watch one just to get the hang up to see what it's all about. And it's these little puppets that travel all around the world teaching people about food, about cooking. They're learning from chefs, and you get an education while you're watching it. So the first one is about tomatoes. So I thought, okay, I'll watch tomatoes. And then before I know it, I said, oh, they're doing something on eggs. Oh, they're doing something on pickles. Oh, they're doing something on salt. And before I knew it, I was all the way in. I
Yeah.
was all the way in. It's so well done.
Yeah.
So
I was
kudos to
I was
her.
surprised to hear you say that food is the one area that you might have regretted as a parent. What do you mean by that?
Well, I do think if I had to do it over, if I had a do over in terms of parenting,
Yeah.
I have a favorite daughter who's 35 and I have a favorite son who's 34. Actually, Kirby's going to be 35 tomorrow as we're sitting here talking today, May
Happy birthday,
11th.
Kirby.
So for 3 weeks, they're the same age. So Will just turned 34. Kirby's turning 35 tomorrow, very soon, depending on when you air this. So they are potty trained and employed. So my job is done. But if I had to do it over, I do say that's my biggest parenting regret. I didn't do right by them when it came to cooking and when it came to providing nutritious meals. Number one, John, I don't know how to cook. Number one, I don't know how to cook. So there was a lot of fish sticks and tater tots, these things called honey buns, spaghettios. And what I know is that you can teach children to like broccoli just as much as they can like tater tots. It's all the way that you present it, it's all the way you talk to them about it. But I was, microwave queen. So if I had to do it over, I would have made a more concerted effort to do that right. Kirby, I'm very happy to say, is course corrected. Well, we need to work on that. The other day he ordered something. I go, ugh, why are you eating that? He goes, well, where did I learn it from? And like he goes, oh,
Yeah. I just started cooking myself. It's a challenge to get on the right course and stay on it.
yes, but it's real. The food is really good. Vegetables, I have to say, John, are a really good thing. And that's what I think is the beauty of what Michelle Obama is doing, starting at a very young age, getting kids excited about food, where it comes from, how to prepare it, how to keep it fresh, to stay away from processed things. I think she's really onto something. Let's just say I wish I would have had a waffles and mochi when Kirby and Will were growing up.
Yeah. As far as when you were growing up, I mean, it's hard to believe because you're on television every day now. But is it true that for 5 or 6 years, your family didn't even have a television?
Yeah, we didn't have a TV because we lived in Turkey. So My formative years, I lived in Turkey from first grade to sixth grade, Ankara, Turkey to be exact. My dad was electronic engineer who worked for the government. Our assignment was Turkey. And when you're a kid, you just go where your parents go.
Right.
It's not like you have a say in the matter. And it's not that I even minded. I just thought, okay, now, we were living in Washington, D.C. I was born in Chattanooga, Tennessee, where I was for 18 months, then was in Washington, and then we, lived in Turkey. And I have a greater appreciation for it now
Yeah.
because, I really have, I have to say, knock on wood, I've had a really privileged life and didn't even know it was privileged. For vacation, we'd go to Paris, we'd go to Rome, we'd go to Greece. And
Wow.
I can remember walking around the Acropolis. I know you know what that is, John Cooper, because you're a smart student. Um, Saying to my dad, why do we just have to be in the sun looking at these rocks? This is so boring. Can't we go back to the hotel and go swimming? And he said to me, one day you're going to appreciate this. One day you're going to appreciate this. He
Wow.
used to call me GP because my middle name starts with a P, so it was GP. He said, one day, GP, you're going to appreciate this. And it's true. I pull up those pictures now of me in sixth grade going, this is me in the Acropolis when I was in sixth grade. This is, so you don't know it at the time. So I have
Right.
great appreciation for it now. But
Yeah.
that's why we didn't have a TV. But nobody had a TV in Turkey. So I
Right.
did a lot of reading. I mean, for me, going to the library, you probably don't know about these things called library cards that you had with your name on it. You'd go and check out books. I couldn't wait to go to the library and check out books. So I was a huge reader as a little kid.
Believe it or not, I might have my library card in close proximity. I don't know if
Really?
I left it in
Oh,
my wallet back in South Carolina or if I have it in the one here. But
oh,
I do have
okay.
them.
All right.
Yeah. I'm so surprised though. So when you're going to Paris and Rome and Greece, and Ankara, Turkey, which I believe was sort of rural at the time, did you know that? Okay, I'm a little black girl doing all of this. Did you realize that, or were you so young that you didn't really register
Yeah.
that things were different?
I didn't register any different. And it wasn't really rural. It was a very cosmopolitan city. I went to an American school with other American students.
Okay.
And I think there were three Black kids in the class. But, I didn't really think about that until I got older. I recently connected with one of the other girls, one of the other little Black girls. Cynthia
Yeah.
Birch was her name. She's married now and has a different name. Um, and so race wasn't something that I thought about that was a big deal to me at all. The only time I first became conscious of it, I was in elementary school. I don't know, it was fourth, fifth grade, something like that. And we were reading about Abraham Lincoln. And this little boy, I'll call him John Cooper. I won't use his real name because he's alive. But he said to me, if it wasn't for Abraham Lincoln, you would have been my slave. And I go, what are you talking about? I went home and asked my mom, John Cooper said if it wasn't for Abraham Lincoln, I would have been his slave. Is that true? My mother said, John Cooper doesn't know what he's talking about. But that was the first time I ever became aware that it was a difference. And even then I thought, okay, that was history. My mom said he doesn't know what he's talking about. So it's not something that I consciously thought about. Oh, I wonder if.
Yeah. And so
Kids have to be taught race. They have to be taught race and they have to be taught how to hate. That's not something that comes naturally or normally to a little child. When you see children playing, they just go over to other little people that are like them and want to engage.
exactly. I mean, I think you've had the singer Audra McDonald on a couple of times, and she sings his song in her concert. You've got to be carefully taught. You've got to be taught to hate and fear. You've got to be taught from year to year. Um, you've got to be carefully taught. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's carefully true. That's very true. I mean, and it is hard to hate up close, I always say.
Hmm.
When you really get to know somebody and spend time with somebody, even if they have different views than you, and I'm okay with the different views, it's hard to hate up close.
I'm wondering, with when you got back to America, here you are again, a little black girl who has lived a life, seen places that most people, white or black, at that time hadn't. Did you have trouble readjusting, especially since it was the '60s, the height of the civil rights movement, sort of? How did you readjust to life in America?
Well, again, you have to keep in mind, I didn't know I was adjusting, you
Mm.
know. I'm telling you, as a little kid, you just go wherever your parents are. So when I came back to the States, I think I was in seventh grade. I was in seventh grade. So I was in middle school, junior high school. Um, and I didn't really think of it as an adjustment. I wasn't really, again, focused on race. It was only later when I talked to people, don't you remember when we went to so and so? And I go, no, I don't. I, I, I don't remember being mistreated by whites. I had actually a more difficult time with black kids
Wow.
who thought that I talk funny. They said, you talk funny, you talk like a white girl, you're an Oreo. So I was called Oreo, Aunt Sarah. I said, that was an adjustment. That was an adjustment that black kids didn't like me. And I remember so vividly um, taking a test and deliberately getting a D on it,
Wow.
deliberately getting a D. And so I got this D, and my dad said, I know you know this stuff. Why did you get a D? Because people would always say, oh, you think you're so smart, blah, 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 blah. So I deliberately got a D. And my dad said, look, I know you know this. What were you thinking? And I said, I just want the kids to like me. I just want the kids to like me. He said, okay, you got a D. Do they like you better? And I went, no. He goes, well, then that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
How do experience I'm surprised to hear that because like now again we see you're like a very confident open person. Were experiences like that the key to sort of forming that confidence, or did it just come naturally with time?
I don't know. I don't feel that I was scarred. I wasn't one of these people that, oh my God, I wanted friends. It's true. And I had a lot of friends.
Yeah.
Uh, and it took a while before I had black friends. Ultimately, I did have black friends too. But I wasn't somebody that felt scarred or lesser than.
Mm.
I've never felt that. I've never felt scarred or lesser than. I just thought, okay, not everybody's going to like you. That's okay. You just after they didn't like me after I got the D, I said, well, forget that. I'm just going to continue getting good grades.
Right.
I'm never going to put myself in that position again.
Right.
But I still remained I didn't think of myself as confident or not confident. I just thought, work hard. I was raised in a house where you're supposed to get good grades.
Yeah.
I was raised in a house where it's not a question of if you're going to college, it's you are going to college. So, we had very strict rules in our house about education, about homework, and about studying. So, I don't know if you call that confidence. I just think that was just my life.
Yeah.
That was just my life.
uh
So
when
in high school, I was on the drill team, which is like cheerleading, the cheerleading squad, and did all those kind of fun stuff.
Yeah, when you got to college, that's even though you weren't studying journalism, that's when you got started. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, I majored in psychology. I intended to be a child psychologist because, John, I love listening to people's problems and giving unsolicited advice. I'm very good at that. Ask my favorite daughter Kirby and favorite son Will. I called Will the other day and I go, "Your couch is terrible. Look at all that stuff that's coming out. Don't you think you should get a new couch?" He's like, "Okay, mom, gotta go." He's like, "I like this couch." I go, "Honestly, Will, it's not a good couch." Anyway, I'm very good at giving unsolicited advice. I still love that and listening to people's problems. Or if I wasn't going to be a psychologist, then I thought I'd be great in the courtroom as a lawyer. I thought I could see myself in front of a jury arguing a case. I never wanted to represent criminals. I just thought, okay, I'd be great. And then, I was working part time at a camera store that was next to a TV station. I got offered this job there and it was off to the races. I walked in a newsroom and I was blown away. I was blown away by the hustle and bustle, and there was breaking news that day, and everybody was running all around. And the people that I'd seen on TV, I was seeing in person. I was like, oh my God. Then you realize they're like regular people, John, regular people. But at the time, coming in as a college student, I was like, wow, there's JC Hayward. Oh my God, there's Gordon Peters. Oh, it's Maureen Bunny, and she said hi to me, that kind of stuff. Then you realize everybody there has a job to do, but I was so fascinated by it. So yeah, it wasn't until I was in college that I got bitten by the TV bug. This was not a lifelong dream or plan for myself.
Right. When when you did that job, you know, a lot of us the interns were also in college, also just starting out. What do you think set you apart as someone who was special and just not another person coming through? And what have you seen in interns over the years that distinguish them and make them stand out?
Because I know exactly. I worked really hard. I would always ask people, is there anything I can do to help you? Can I go out on a story with you? I can tell today someone who's going to make it and not. There are some interns that come and really, it's such a unique opportunity. There are some people that come, they're looking at their watch like, oh my God, how much longer do I have for this? And others who are like myself, who are just looking around like, I want to be a sponge and learn everything, everything. No matter how small it seemed, how big it seemed, I was always that kind of kid. So whether it meant working extra hours, whether it meant working holidays, once I decided this was what I wanted to do. And I also think it's important that you make sure the people that can help you know your name. And people who are really good, really good. One of the reasons why I'm talking to you, Katie Curcio said, oh, please, you got to talk to this guy, blah, blah, blah. Because I'm like, he's not even an intern here anymore. Why are we doing this? And she said, no, this guy was very special. I know you've been asking since January. That was another thing. Oh, my schedule was crazy. But I mean, when people who are in power positions who can help you know your name and know your name in a good way, that is not a bad thing, because they'll go back and say, hey, remember that intern, Katie Smith is a perfect example. Remember that intern, Katie Smith? She went out on a couple shoots. She was always, you could tell there was something different about her. And that's not something you can teach somebody.
Right.
I don't believe you can teach that. That's just something that people have. I call it the it factor.
Yeah.
They just have that it thing that you just go, oh, okay, I remember him. Or
Gotcha.
what's their name? The person over there, da 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 da. You can tell by the questions they ask. You can tell by the way they carry themselves. You can tell when they go above and beyond the call of duty, totally unsolicited. Those type of people stand out.
Got it. And again, with being interns, like we are in a position where we're sort of learning as we go. I'm curious, how long did it take you from first like walking into the TV station? You end up afterwards in Washington D.C., in Baltimore, Kansas City. Like how long did it take you to feel like, oh, I got this, I can do this, I'm good at this job?
Well, I do feel that now, but I
Mm,
also feel I'm always learning. You
right.
know, I'm not acting like, oh my God, I know everything. I think the minute you're in a position where you don't feel you're always learning, that's not a good thing. And I know people look at me and say you're at the top of your game. And listen, I do. I think I'm doing very well. I love what I do. I think I'm good at it. I do. But I also think there's always something to learn.
Yeah.
So I will never sit and say, um, oh, I'm done learning. I never want to be in that position. But certainly I've had some things along the way. R. Kelly interview certainly stands out, because had I been at a different stage in my career when he started, where he went from 0 to 160 in the blink of an eye, that would have totally thrown me. That
Mm,
would have totally thrown me. Instead, I just thought, okay, I'm going to watch this and see how it plays out. Or, when you're on TV and things don't go according to plan, the tape doesn't work, you throw to somebody, there's no audio, um, the scripts are all in the wrong order, because that has happened to me before. You you just know that you can handle it. I now feel that no matter what happens, I think that I'll be able to pivot and roll with it. Even John, if it's as simple as we're going to take a break. We're going to take a break and figure this out.
yeah.
We're going to take a break and figure this out.
Is there anything
So,
that you are interested in learning and getting better at right now?
um, it's not a question of what is that. I just think you always can. I think there's always room for improvement. I
Hmm,
don't care who you are.
got
I
it.
think there's always room for improvement.
Yeah. I'm so interested by the fact though that after 25 years working in the news, including almost 20 at Channel 3 in Hartford, Connecticut, the local station. I'm in New Haven right now. I didn't tell you that. I'm in New Haven. But including almost 20
Yeah,
years
that
there.
was my area.
Yeah.
It was GAYLE King, Channel 3, Eyewitness News from the Berkshires to the Sound, from wherever you live. GAYLE King, Eyewitness News.
Yeah,
I loved it.
when I went to the barber shop, I told them, and it wasn't Gayle King from CBS. It was Gayle King from Channel 3. Yeah,
Oh, did they remember?
they did very much.
That's funny.
Yeah,
But yeah, listen, I was there for so long that that's why I love local television. I love it because it gives you a sense of community. It gives you an anchor. It gives you, I really felt that this was my area. This was my people. This was
right.
my community. I felt that very deeply. I've still got a 203 Connecticut number. So, I mean, I just think that when you can have that, and whenever there's a big breaking story, I always say, well, what are the locals doing? Because for us, it'll be two people are dead at a grocery store. But for okay, I have to do something with Drew Barrymore in 5 minutes. But when you're with the locals, it's the so and so store on so and so street. The police chief's name is so and so. They will know all of the details because it is your community. And there's something about having a community that I think is that's why I love local television. You
Right.
can learn a lot starting in the local level and working your way up.
While you were there, I mean, it wasn't always easy. And, for interns right now, I know personally I had to deal with the death of my aunt, who was like a second mom going into my senior year between CBS internships.
Wow.
And while you were on TV, had to deal with the death of your own mother. For interns who are doing work during difficult personal times, what have you learned about persevering through setbacks, be they personal or professional?
Because I've learned, John, that that's life.
Hmm.
So for me, it's not a matter of dealing with it. It's just life. It is what it is.
Yeah.
And it's awful. I remember my dad died when I was in college, and I can remember just being just racked with grief. And my mother died when I was on the air, when I was working in television. And I remember getting in the car, University of Maryland is where I went, and driving home where I just gotten the news about my dad. And I looked over, and there's these a car full of other college students. The top is rolled down. It's a sunny day, and they are singing at the top of their lungs.
Yeah.
And I wanted to say, "Shut up! My dad just died. I just died. Stop!" But they don't know that,
Right.
nor do they care.
Yeah.
And in that moment, I thought, oh, I'm having one of my worst days. And I'm looking at these girls, they're having one of their best.
Yeah.
And it's just called life. And
Right.
as difficult as it is, and it is difficult, I went through a divorce when I was, on TV. I went, the death of my mother, but I also had some incredible highs. I got married. I had, my two great, great, great kids. And so I just look at it, it's just life. And sometimes you're dealt a bad hand. And I think you can take a moment to lick your wounds and, lick your wounds. I call it have a brief period of bereavement, but the truth of the matter is life really does go on.
Mm.
Sometimes that's very, very difficult.
Yeah. What makes all of the highs and lows worth it at the end of the day for you?
Because I love this job. I love what we get to do. It's a big privilege. It's not something I take for granted. And it comes with a lot of not personality, although you got to have personality to be on TV. That wasn't what I was trying to say. It comes with a lot of privilege, and it comes with a lot of responsibility, neither of which I take for granted or take lightly. And that's what makes it worth it for me. I love that. And I've said this many times, that you can go to bed and the world is one way, and you wake up and the world has totally changed.
Right.
And we get to be the ones here at CBS This Morning, wherever you like to get your morning news. Hopefully it is CBS This Morning. We get to be the ones that tell you. And now we live in a 24/7 digital world where people are getting news all the time, 24/7. It's no longer 24/7. It's sometimes 24 seconds. But yet I still say we have a front row seat to history. And that never gets old, and it never gets boring to me.
That's awesome. I've got to say, just in researching you and definitely in getting to talk to you, I smiled a little wider and stood a little taller. It's just such an honor. Thanks for your.
I don't see you standing, John. You look like you're sitting down. Where are you?
I am standing. I am in my apartment. This is my multi-purpose corner. I sing here. I do classes here. Sometimes if I want to stand up while I'm working, I do that
You
here.
sing?
I do sing.
What do you sing? I love music. What do you sing?
I've trained classically for a few years, but I love doing music. Love doing musical theater. So
Oh, well, okay. What's your favorite musical song that you like to sing?
Somewhere from West Side Story.
Oh, okay. Let me hear a couple bars. Let me
Oh,
hear it.
really? Are you serious?
I'm serious. Somewhere,
For
yes.
us, somewhere a place for us, peace and quiet and open air. Wait for us somewhere.
There's a time for us. I love that song. I
I
love
love,
that song. You know another song I like? Do you know The Impossible Dream?
of course.
I love The Impossible Dream.
Yes.
Can you do that?
Um, and the world will be better for this. That one man, scorned and covered with scars, still strove with his last ounce of courage to reach the unreachable stars.
Yeah, I like that. Okay, one more. This is my last one because I love this song. This is my last one, John.
Okay.
I'll bet you might not know this one though. This will
Uh-oh.
be really something if you know this one. MacArthur Park.
Definitely don't.
Oh, okay. When we're done, you must Google MacArthur Park.
I will do it.
MacArthur Park. Oh, I love that song.
Is
It's
that the song that you say your favorite question is what song best describes you? Is that the song for you, or is there another?
no, mine is Walking on Sunshine. I'm walking
Ah,
on sunshine. Ooh, do you know that one?
I do.
Walking on sunshine because yellow's my favorite color because
Yes.
it's sunshine and butter, all good things to me, and it just makes me feel great. But you have to Google MacArthur Park. The Four Tops sing it. A couple people sing it, but the lyrics it says someone left the cake out in the rain. I don't know if I can take it because it took so long to make it, but I'll never have that recipe again. Wait till you hear that song.
Wow.
It's just beautiful. It's
Wow.
beautiful. Then I expect you to send me a note about what you thought about MacArthur Park.
I will do it.
I never ask anything of you, John Cooper.
Except a
I'm
note
asking
about
that.
MacArthur Park.
Yes. All right.
All right. Have a wonderful day.
You too. You too. Very nice to talk to you. Very nice to
Likewise.
talk to you.
Take care.
All right. See ya.
Bye.
Leaving meeting.